Hi, I'm Akilora.
And I'm Rohan.
Welcome to The Long Take. This week we're discussing Kabir Khan's new movie, Chandu Champion, which stars Karthik in the lead as India's one of the first Paralympian who won a gold medal. It's actually, incidentally, better timed for its OTT release than its theatrical release, funny enough. But anyway, yeah, what do you make of the movie, Ron?
I think we're back on track after a big gap. This is the kind of stuff that we usually talk about on this podcast.
Yeah, it's 83 all over again.
Yeah, it feels like a homecoming. Oh, finally. Fir I have seen the Dilruba is bad, but have you seen Chandu Champion?
Yeah, it's I don't know, I think he basically thinks he made a great movie in 83. Everyone was showering praise on him. He's let me just copy the format onto another sports person.
Or, I don't know, is this full delusion? Is that what we're seeing right now?
Yeah, because if you get that kind of praise, then you're going to make something like this only. Now you're not going to change yourselves.
No, but normally these people equate box office with quality, right? Kyo agar picture nahi chali, so then that means that we failed the audience. Audience has rejected.
I don't remember what happened to 83.
That one bombed, but they blamed it on COVID or something. So I guess
or whatever. Yeah. So I think so clearly that excuse say convince themselves not their fault, and we're getting whatever quote unquote praise from audiences and stuff. So clearly we did a good job.
Which is what they've been saying with this one also. This one bombed, but there's no pandemic now to blame. So they've just been going around telling everybody that everybody likes it. Yeah. But I honestly if you like this movie, then.
But that's the problem, right? If we do we're not gonna do a lo kya kahenge because it doesn't make sense. But our fraternity as well seems to like this.
That's baffling, right? So this is the same as. Did we talk about Sam Bahadur? I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, this is basically the Sam Bahadur problem, right? It's becoming increasingly common in especially the biopic genre, because what they do is there is a sense of inadequacy for some reason that directors feel when they're doing, real life stories. They're real achievements kafi nahi hai. We'll just have to jazz things up.
Accentuate it.
Yeah. And also the narrative, the structure is the same in all these movies. It's mini scenes, right? It's just one scene after another, which almost it's like a short film, beginning, middle, end, and it's just exhausting after a point. Ki bhai, tu character ke baare mein to soch na. Every second doesn't have to be a life altering.
Yeah. Just recollecting someone's life doesn't make a good biopic. I think someone needs to tell these people.
But he's been doing this for a while. I don't know if you remember that Amazon show that he made, which was just.
Oh my god, that is the nadir of Kabir Khan's career.
And imagine he's just that is the narrative structure that he has chosen to stick to.
Yeah, and I can see still some facets of storytelling that he did in that Amazon show, The Forgotten Army, which are still visible here. I'm talking more on a technical level, every time he needs a scene to for it to be felt bigger than it is, he's kya kare? Background music ya score?
Yeah.
Dhasu, bajao, full amp up karo, rote lyrics dalo, because the scene in itself, say a scene when the brother is telling him at the Bombay hospital, he's you're better off here. Just let the two characters be. Just let them be, talk to each other, cry it out. You don't need to put a song in to make me feel worse about it.
It would have been manipulative and contrived without the music, and imagine how bad it is with the music.
Yeah. This is the number one problem with that Amazon show was he couldn't wait 3 minutes before plugging in the main theme, whatever he had gotten a singer and a songwriter to develop, and every 3 minutes he was isko dalo.
The device is the same, right? The elderly person looking back on life, ki maine ye sab kiya tha, tum jante nahi ho, and
Control C, Control V.
And it's almost we spoke about delusion, but imagine what level of, I don't know if it's just being blind to the real world. Just imagine the kind of overconfidence you must have to open your movie with the scene in which that person you're supposed to take seriously. The level of makeup on that character is so shoddy, and that is the first impression that we get of your protagonist, right? On a technical level, this person is just a horrible prosthetics job. Upar se exaggerated performance. Upar se he's demanding an award that he did not get, which is a very strange kind of like thing to make your character.
Gateway into the movie.
Yeah, okay. Is that the best way to introduce this person? To make him seem like entitled or something? Without us knowing what he has done, right? It's another thing agar tune dikha diya picture and then be like, oh, I should have won an award or something. I'm like, yeah, man, you've done so much.
The thing comes like, say, 2 hours into the movie, I'm like, yeah, I've seen you do a lot, so like, maybe you deserve that award.
Yeah, imagine first scene. Which, I don't know, I guess we are supposed to be in like Shreyas Talpade's mindset in that. I have no idea.
Basically, yeah, you should be supposed to be like laughing with like Talpade and like who's playing the president, I forget.
Brajendra Kala.
Yeah. So like, you know, like you should be with them, like ye sab kya time mazak kar rahe hain.
Massively
and the junior officers.
To Brajendra Kala for essentially having him be like Wikipedia for like.
Yeah, which is like nonsense. Like, why would you like slot him in that role and why would you like say yes to that kind of role? I have no idea.
I don't know. He's one of the few people that I find quite amusing in Hindi movies. Like whenever he pops up, I'm like, oh, interesting. This person is always doing something interesting. But then this is just like a waste, you know. But like I would argue that even Shreyas Talpade is wasted. Or like,
why are these people there?
But speaking of, you know, laughing at him, I could not figure out for like 2 hours 20 minutes of this movie's runtime what was the reason that this person decided कि मुझे medal जीतना है. It can't.
The hero welcome. That's it, right? That's all we're given. All we're given is someone got a hero's welcome, and it's like, this is amazing. I want this.
But can you imagine how flimsy that is? Like we're.
And forget flimsy. It's also like for a child that's okay, right? To want fame on that level, but once you grow up, you have to want more, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. He's kind of dedicated his life to, I don't know, being like a wrestler initially. But then the weird thing is that the movie wants us to think that, oh, ye bechara bullied tha. People used to call him Chandu Champion without realizing that they're calling him Chandu Champion after he has decided that I want to be an Olympic medal winner, right?
Like they're mocking his like level of ambition, basically. He's like, how can you like dream so big when you have done nothing?
But that isn't the same as being like, oh, he was bullied and that's why he wants to achieve. That's partially the reason, but he decided he wants to achieve before he was bullied, at least according to the chain of events that you presented to us.
I mean, we have to go by what they give us, right?
Yeah, it's very, very strange. But then, you know, that's just an early indication of this movie is just wall-to-wall ineptitude. Like, kuch sense nahi hai.
Speaking of ineptitude, like in that childhood phase, they introduced like Karthik Aryan as the character way too early, right? Because he's supposed to be like still in school.
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't you just get a third actor? Like, if you want to show progression, just get a third actor who like plays his whatever, like, you know, adolescent self. He's like, that guy does not fit. Like, Karthik Aryan is looking like 2x everyone's age in that school. I'm like, this is not working, guys.
That was the only time I was glad that this movie has like zero female presence. Because imagine if there were like little girls around him, like, yuck, his
God, like, it's a decision sometimes we, like, you know, filmmakers make in India. Like, just get another actor. It's easy.
But it was very weird. So even if you like do like mental like acrobatics and be like, ye 5 baar fail hua hoega, 6 baar fail hua hoega. Even then, like, nahi bhai, he's like 6'5" or something as compared to like the other children.
Exactly.
और उसको ABCD भी नहीं आता.
Which is like the, I think movies like this is the recurring thing in like most like Bollywood movies, especially in Kabir Khan, is like show people like inept jabardasti. Like maybe even if he knew English in real life now, they would take it away from him just because it makes the movie funnier.
Funnier se to bhai, matlab, I can't even. I remember being so annoyed by all those, you know, that dosa segue in 83.
Yeah. I vividly remember even us discussing.
Yeah, because it was so strange. The dosa thing though was one, like, just a deleted scene written all over it. But like, there was a scene in, one of the most crucial scenes in 83 was when Kapil Dev hits that match-winning knock, right? Wo matlab naha dho ke nikal raha tha, whatever, and it wasn't telecast, and this was the first time that someone's being like recreating that match, etc., etc. Huge dramatic moment. And Kabir Khan chooses to frame it to the perspective of the guy who wants to pee but can't leave because it's such an interesting, which was like, like perfect encapsulation of his artistic vision. But even in this one, I'm like, bro, so this person has, from a little village, if you on paper see his story, from a little village he has escaped and he has made it to the army. Now he's going and representing his country in Tokyo in a very, very serious competition. And then you decide that you simply have to have a scene in which his English is made fun of on TV.
Yeah.
What in the world is that?
Yeah, like why is there even a female character to begin with is my question. Aren't there enough things going around in that scene for him to like need that unnecessary like distraction?
Arey, forget that.
Like what does it achieve? It's not like that woman is ever important in the movie again. She's forgotten and like हाँ तू
There
गया.
is no other woman also. Like that is the only woman and वो भी इतना जबरदस्त से डाला है. वो भी क्यों?
Yeah, like so it takes the credits. I'm like, because the entire while when he's narrating in this police station, we see his son. I'm like, ये कहाँ से आया?
है कौन?
Because like कब introduce होगा female like love interest, and like it takes like the credits of the movie to say he married some woman called Usha and had 5 children. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
When were you gonna tell me this?
Which is weird because the movie also has like a romantic song sequence that happens in the beginning. Although
happens,
no
like-
romantic interest has been introduced, but
No interest, no like like place, like it doesn't fit at all. They leave like army one area, they go into the other area of army, and beach mein train mein just like song. I'm like,
yeah,
hello, like
it's not only just a song; it's a song about romance.
Yeah.
I'm like, bhai, matlab it's double of.
At least like make it about like like they are going to be like army men, they're gonna be training as like recruits, maybe something about that, like their nervousness or excitement. Nahi,
No.
like random like like producers they bola we need a song about like love because that will बजेगा रेडियो पे स्ट्रीमिंग सर्विस पे तो हमने यहाँ डाल दिया.
Yeah.
That is basically the thought process, and like which is like so annoying at this point 2024. I'm like, this is not, then you can't call this a film. Like you're making a product.
Yeah. This is for sure. This is like a star package, like, oh, we've got like a very expensive director and we've got a very expensive star and here's an inspirational story, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, I wouldn't even call it like cookie cutter because I would like to think that the world has moved on.
Yeah.
The minute you have an Amar Singh Chamkila from mainstream Bollywood is when the world has moved on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then that is the mainstream Hindi industry being like, we can make a biopic that is not going to be this.
It's like do hit every beat of his life.
Yeah. And use interesting framing devices and use like techniques in a fun way. Here, it's none of that, right? In
Let's say something, right? Like imagine like a guy who's making rom-coms his entire life is saying that freedom of expression is important.
Yeah.
And like this guy,
It's an evolution.
what is he saying with this movie? Like what are you saying?
I mean, from what the ending kind of shoehorns in, he's basically saying कि Murali Kant का story is equal to India का story. तुम हंसोगे हमारे ऊपर, हम whatever achieve करेंगे कुछ that you did not expect. From what I understood.
But the only ones being laughed at right now is the director.
Which, like, the comedy is a recurring thing in this man's life. When he intends to be funny, it's never funny. But when he doesn't, it's hilarious.
Because like I don't even understand, like like there's obviously some like obviously you're allowed creative license. I'm all for it in biographies. But when you start taking creative license to like a whole new level, when like stuff like why do the boxing event in Tokyo in 1964 only? Why can't you make it like 1 year here and there? Because then at the same year as in Olympics, and this guy's an Olympics fanatic, and somehow they never mentioned that there's an Olympics happening in the same year he's there in Tokyo.
Yeah. No, but वो contrivances तो शुरू से होते हैं ना. Like when he runs away from his village, the first person that he happens to meet is the person who tells him कि भाई तू army join कर ले. And the army, like whatever, recruitment is happening the very next day.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's like 3 contrivances in one scene.
And then the next level, like toying with the facts, then happens like when he actually like is about to reach his ultimate goal. He reaches the Paralympics and then like, oh, Olympics is shooting on. I'm like, bhai, वो 3 हफ्ते बाद हुआ था. Like, why would you like merge that? I have no idea. Like, why do you need unnecessary like drama in your movie when you know you're like literally like portraying something that never even happened? He was not there.
No, that's what I was mentioning when we started talking about this movie, right? Like earlier, there's a sense of inadequacy. They feel so insecure about the actual achievements that they're like,
if we talk about the Munich Olympics, we have to mention the Palestine-Israel attack. We have to, otherwise there's no way we can do it.
Which is fine. You mention it, but you mention it in the background, right?
I can't even
mention it
because the Paralympics happened like I think 2 weeks before the Olympics. And the attack happens 1 week into the Olympics. So the events of like him winning his swimming medal and the attack are 3 weeks or 4 weeks apart.
Then there you go. We don't need it at all.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be the separate event. Like get on with it. Like it makes no sense.
This is like the English thing, right? Ke bhai matlab, let him at least do an interview in peace without having to suddenly have the hurdle of having a translator present and even he doesn't know. All that nonsense is just...
It's all nonsense. No? It's like the first time someone's ever taken an interview and they don't know the language.
Yeah. They're like, but ye interview English mein hoega. Can you do it? Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
have
sure
Karni.
like there's this
Oh my
person in the army who can translate for him. Like, yeah, there you go, solved problem.
Solved. It's not a big deal. And but this reminds me of, I don't know if you saw that movie called Major, which I don't think many people saw, but it was about the Fauji who died in the 26/11 attacks at Taj.
I think
The
I
person
saw my dad watching it.
Yeah, so that movie, so the real person, he died during the siege, right? He went up and he was climbing the stairs, whatever, and he was shot. Heroic of him to be there, everything.
Yeah.
In that movie, they present that character like some sort of superhero.
Like John Wayne Dyard style.
Yeah. So there is an actual scene in which that character comes out of the siege, races to all the media that's like stationed outside, famously, and lectures them about तुम जो दिखा रहे हो वो उनको अंदर दिख रहा है और वो
वो तो यहाँ पे भी होता है ना, like यहाँ पे Mulli Khan sits down with the Indian Olympic Committee and then gives a whole lecture about like people who are like disabled being left behind. I'm like, I'm sure they know that. I'm sure like 50 other people have told them that already.
Yeah, we can see. The weird thing is, like, of course he's paralyzed and everything, but the movie immediately launches into this odd like Munna Bhai segment in the hospital, right? Which immediately takes the emotional heft away, right? You're like, oh my God, this is a huge blow for him. His entire life, he's
you just felt like a long scene in Kashmir where like this horror thing was happening to him and cut to him being like, oh yeah, he's going through this now. Like Rajpal Yadav is going to do comedy for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like a little 90s movie, which is what Rajpal Yadav would have been doing back then.
Yeah, like there's no progression for the poor guy.
But isme beach mein now there's like suicide things also in the middle of the comedy.
At the same time, when the suicide thing is happening, they have to make that also like somehow like that scene funny. So they have the gambling nonsense happening.
Exactly.
Like that scene is the equivalent of like that dosa scene from 83.
But you can't really point fingers at Kabir Khan for not being ambitious, because beach mein he tries to do like Sam Mendes ka 1917 also, in case you did not notice.
Why? I have no idea, but he can like enjoy karo life.
But that is also an indication of, I don't want to keep using the word delusion, but like that movie was an achievement, you know, technically. And to be like sitting here and with like a fraction of the money and like
80% more like CGI.
Yeah. And to think that, nahi, main bhi karunga, same, main bhi karunga. Somebody has to step in and be like, sir, let's be practical. I'm not saying कि आप में talent नहीं है, but आपके infrastructure और पैसे नहीं है. At least tell him that. No? ये नहीं हो पाएगा, dude. और नहीं हुआ. Obviously, it's not like you proved us wrong. Wow, how could we ever doubt you? No, it looks every 2 seconds dhua comes up so that, oh, you didn't see the cut because there was dhua. Sure. Anyway.
Is there anything else left to talk about? Anyone we've missed? Because the movie's like, I basically like, I think 7-8 different scenes, like, and characters come and go and like different whatever it is.
Yeah. A part of me was expecting that random Sardaji in the crowd at the end of the swimming contest. I thought the movie is obviously going to turn to him and be like, मैं Karnel Singh का father हूँ, beta. I would not have been
expect from like a once like the Murder movie has like pulled you down to its level, you expect like these things in every corner, like abhi koi kuch karega.
Which is a sad part, right? Because then you're like thinking on the movie's like wavelength. You're like, oh, this could happen, that could happen.
Also, no? Like when on the radio, his brother and dad like listen to like, oh, he's participating in the final, which like is amazing that they've never been told this son is like going to Munich and participating in the Olympics. But he can, if I like let you give you that, they must like run across the village, run to home, tell the mom, and then the mom is like full backlit, full emotional, like about on tears. I'm like, kya ho raha hai ye abhi?
Only Michael Bay can get away with stuff like that.
Because the entire movie then operates on that wavelength.
This one is just because you've also just told us that the family was completely unaware about him for like 2 years, right? After he left. They had no idea ke kahan par hai, and they had to be told that he was in the war and he got shot and he got injured and he's been in a coma for like so many years, right? And then the next time we see the family is them basically, the brother basically saying that you don't come home because we can't afford to basically your liability, right? In kinder words, or not even as kind. So in my head, I'm like, oh, how terrible, what a terrible family, you know? And then in the end, I'm supposed to be like crying on their behalf.
Or at least like if they leave him, they can keep in touch through letters. No? Like
they don't
how kind are they to be like, we're going and we will not keep in touch even though we're in the same state. Like, just write letters to each other. Like, why did they forget about him? Like, I don't know when the late 60s or whatever, he's like recuperating in that Mumbai hospital. So then, and 72, he goes to the Olympics. Uske beech mein there's no communication between the family.
Because
It's like,
Kabir Khan himself keeps forgetting.
Germany, ma, but I won't tell you.
कुछ भी नहीं है ना, मतलब it's just like estranged at that point.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean,
Like,
they
we
should.
can't care for you, and we won't even write to you from now on.
And even Murli Kant is not like pining for his family, right? Ever
Yeah.
in his moments of solitude. Like, मेरा माँ मेरी क्या कर रही होगी and I'm forced to stay away. We aren't even shown that side of him. So
Yeah.
for what we know, he's like
That's
just
only
focused
comes
on.
out when the ma is in front of him.
So I don't even understand why that perspective was shown to us in the first place. Like, introduce them, be like they turned their backs on him and they left. Finish, काम खत्म. You're already milking emotion from like 15 other directions. So ये क्यों चाहिए, bhai? Anyway, there's no end to this. We can go on for like 6 hours.
Yeah, because every other scene is just like, why that choice, bro?
Literally, abhi to matlab, we've spoken about all this stuff, but like we can like pick out scenes and be like, वहाँ से light क्यों मारी इसके मुंह पे? So yeah, I think this is a good time to be like,
yeah, shut shop and like move on.
yeah.
That's all for this episode of The Long Take. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Threads at The Long Take Pod. You can write to us at thelongtakepod@gmail.com. Please leave us a rating and a review wherever this episode, and we will see you next week. Thanks for listening.